And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? Nebraska's first and only sports betting show. I'm your host, Andy Class, and joined by
Jabron,
the Parlay Pounder.
you got it. You got it. We're back.
We are back, and we aren't done. We're not done talking college football. I know we filled up the first two segments. We got even more coming up right here, right now.
You got
But
it.
before we look ahead, should we look back on some of our hits and misses
Yeah,
from
let's
week
do week zero.
zero?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, Andy, and a couple of them that we really told people to go after. Number one, I have to say, Notre Dame. They came out, they were a 20.5 point favorite over Navy. I think both of us kind of jumped on there thinking that was cupcake for them. I knew that they were going to, run it up on Navy a little bit. We knew that this new Hartman kid for Notre Dame is going to air the football out all season. Guy went for 251 yards and 4 touchdowns through the air. We knew that was going to happen. Good for Notre Dame. I'm not a huge Notre Dame fan, but I knew that they were going to do that, especially against Navy.
Yeah, and when you really start to look at it, it did look like Navy or Notre Dame had the upper hand and they were going to cover, even though it was an inflated line. There are a lot of those lines. You just can't get too scared, especially in college football this
Yeah.
early in the season. And you kept it hot. You hit your second point spread pick as well.
Yeah, and that's pretty much reversing what we just did there. I did believe this USC was a little inflated. It was USC against San Jose State. 31.5 point spread, Andy. And, that is just so hard to cover, especially if you don't have a top tier defense, which I do not believe USC does. Yes, they got the best player in college football in Caleb Williams, and he showed out. He had 278 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns. So you know that he is going to be there in the Heisman race, but they did not limit San Jose State on the defensive side of the ball. They ended up scoring 28 points, only a 28 points spread there. So, San Jose State really won some money for me because everybody was on that USC hype train.
No, that was an excellent pick. And the more I looked at San Jose State, the more it made more and more sense. Their defense wasn't terrible last year. Their offense was pretty good and is projected to be even better this year. And early on, that's exactly what happened. They put up, like you said, 28 points on USC's defense. And then we got a late pick in there, one that I was all over. I wanted to get it in there. Hawaii, the Road Warriors, the Road Rainbow Warriors, they covered 17.5 at Vanderbilt for me. Vanderbilt, an SEC school, went out to Hawaii last year, beat their brakes off. I mean, blew them out of the water. But this year, I just thought it was a different story. Still had Vanderbilt winning, but I had Hawaii with the cover, and that's exactly what happened. Ended up being a pretty tight game.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun to watch that game, Andy. Hawaii cut it to 7 points with only 4 minutes to go. They had a legitimate chance to win this game. And their coach said it even after, they lost still and everything, but he said, we're listening to everybody downplay us all week long, all off season long, that we couldn't play with the SEC, and they were right there. They had Vanderbilt's back against the wall. Vanderbilt ended up pulling out the win, but covered in big fashion.
Hey, that's all I was asking for, and that's what I got. So pretty good for us, going 3 for 3 on the point spread college picks last week. Got to be happy with that. Great start, and we're not even started technically. This is week 1. So
yeah, that was just a teaser. We're going to get even better as the time goes on. So yeah.
Well, let's get into this week's matchup. Another Big Ten matchup. I'm going to say this one's going to have a little bit more competitive balance to it compared to Ohio State and Indiana. We're talking about the Wildcats, Northwestern, traveling to Piscataway, New York to take on Rutgers. Rutgers, 6.5 point favorite. I'm seeing across the board here. They're also collecting the majority of the handle at the pay window right now as far as bettors leaning towards the Knights.
Yeah, Andy. No matter at the end of the day, this is still Big Ten football. These are still, teams that Nebraska. Well, I know that we play in Northwestern for sure. So this is definitely something Husker fans will look into, especially with us losing to Northwestern last year, with us being their only win in the Big Ten. But I really, really see Rutgers. It's going to be a close game, but I do believe Rutgers has the advantage here, especially playing at home. The line's sitting right there at 6.5. Some places still have it at 7, Andy. I really do believe Rutgers wins by probably 10 points. I do like the 7. I like the 6.5 even better, though, if you can find it there.
It's got to be tough for Northwestern. All the turnover, the coach, getting the axe there late in the game, and the current coaching staff kind of back in their old ball coach, whether it's with T-shirts, banners, whatever the case may be. It just feels like Northwestern, they're reeling right now, and I don't know how they're going to necessarily compete here, especially early on. This is a Sunday game, right, on CBS, 11 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, so they are in the limelight. They're on Sunday football right before NFL starts, a week before NFL starts on Sunday. So they do got a time slot here for them, and they're going to be, highlighted here. But, with the Northwestern, just the way that it's going, from a PR perspective, I don't think they've ever been anywhere worse than this. I guess that could be good for him on the field as a everybody against us mentality or whatever, but I just don't believe without Fitzgerald this football team is going to be on a right foot this year, and I just believe Rutgers probably has a little bit leg up in this one, and I think their defense will feast on that new Northwestern offense. So I like Rutgers. I like them by 10, might be by more.
The continuity alone should favor Rutgers in a big way here. And this line, interesting enough, the over-under is moving down. Was it 40, 41? Now it's all the way down to 39.5, getting bet down. And it makes a lot of sense at second glance because neither of these offenses you're impressed with. And if there's one thing Greg Schiano's teams have been known for, it's their tough defense. So, who's going to be scoring these points in this Big Ten Week 1 matchup? Who knows?
Yeah, no, I don't. I have this game sitting right at 35 points, Andy. I don't believe it gets any higher than that. I just don't see where the points come from, like you alluded to. And I think Rutgers' defense is just a little bit too good for Northwestern. So I like Rutgers. I like the spread, and I would go with the under if I had to. Might stay away from that one just in case any funny business early morning on Sunday.
All right, let's get to the big matchup everybody's talking about. Sunday night, couple of top 10 ranked teams here. Florida State is playing host to LSU. The 5th-ranked Tigers are going on the road, and they find themselves 2.5-point favorites. That kickoff is at 6:30 on ABC. The over-under, it's going up. It's climbing. Was it 56 earlier today? I see it at 56.5 consensus across most of the books. And I think it's going to keep climbing because these two teams can fill it up.
Yeah. No, Andy, I like that. That's the first thing I want to say is I like the over. These two are going to score a lot of points. This is pretty much the coming out party of the college football season this year. This is the marquee matchup of the weekend that everybody wants to see, a top 10 matchup, especially with two big names of college football, national champion winners, Florida State versus LSU. It doesn't get better than that. So I like 60 plus in this game for points to be scored.
Whoa. Yeah, and you're not alone watching this line climb up here. Last year, Florida State got the Tigers. Everyone's thinking the revenge factor's at play, but you're going on the road to Tallahassee to play Florida State here. I don't think it's going to be easy sailing for the Tiger team here.
No, Andy, and it's not. Admittedly, to me, this is a tough game to predict, Andy. I just think this is two of the best college football teams in the country right now, but I think I do like LSU edging the win. I do believe it's a field goal at the end, though, either way. So I would back LSU. LSU is the play for me. But you got to look at that money line for Florida State, which is sitting at a plus 120 right now to win at home. I think that's as good as bet as anything. But I do like LSU to win at the end here. But I just don't know if they cover especially if that gets over 3. It's at 2.5 right now, so I do like that. But if it gets to 3.5, I would probably back Florida State.
Yeah, you like the hook there at 2.5. That still gives you the field goal win. We're on a key number right there at 2.5. You also have year 2 of the coaching staff being intact there at LSU, so there should be some much improvement there, especially when you're talking week 1, as it was last year in the same type of matchup.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, had a whole year. They look really good at the end of the year. I thought LSU, I think, is back, and this is a statement game for him if there ever was one. So I get that Jordan Travis is on the other side of this ball for Florida State, and everybody's hyping him up a lot as the quarterback for Florida State. But I do believe LSU's defense is going to be really, really good this year, and I think they hold Jordan Travis in check week 1.
Okay, I'll buy it. It's hard to bet against at the SEC in week 1. I don't know why. That's just the way it is.
Just the way it is.
All right, should we talk about a Monday night game?
Yeah, Monday Night Football.
Top 10 team Clemson's on the road taking on Duke, where they are a 13-point, talking about key numbers, 13-point favorite. This is on ESPN, 7 o'clock kickoff, 55.5. You got the hook for your over-under.
Yeah, Andy, everybody that's talking about this game is talking about the quarterbacks, especially on the Duke side, which is pretty surprising. Riley Leonard is a potential superstar NFL caliber quarterback. Everybody's putting him in the top 10 of mock drafts this coming year, especially for teams that are in the need of a quarterback. So this is pretty crazy to see a line that's, almost to 2 touchdowns. It's 13 points towards Clemson right now with the over-under of 55. So it's pretty crazy to see that Duke is such a, dog at home, but everybody's talking about their quarterback. I just think that's pretty wild.
Yeah, it really doesn't add up. And you're also seeing the majority of the money being poured in on Clemson. I think we're talking about the brand power of that previous matchup, Florida State, LSU, and then you see kind of a 50-50 breakup. Here you got Duke versus a traditional power, or a recent power anyway, in Clemson.
Yeah.
And I just think people are betting the name. They're seeing the Clemson Tigers.
Well, I'll tell you why, Andy. And that Clemson defense is so tough. It's just really good. That we are really going to see this Duke quarterback and see if he can lay it on. I hate to put so much pressure on him in week 1, but this is how you get your draft stock up, is to go against a top-tier team like Clemson that has NFL caliber defensive players on it and take it to them. So I do like I like Duke covering in this game. It is one of my more uneasy ones of the week, though, just because Clemson is a top 10 team. But again, I really think they're going to be slow coming out of the gate, and if this Duke quarterback's as good as everybody's saying he is, he's going to keep him in the game. So I really like I would like it to be 14, but it's at 13 right now, so I might have to wait around and look for a better line.
I really thought we were going to split there because I was backing the Dukes. I think Duke can get there as well. Week 1, all the things you just mentioned there, and Clemson's kind of been underwhelming, really. If we're honest, the last couple of years they have been. So you heard the horn. We're up against it, so let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners, and that is the Stock and Rod Company, an outdoor lifestyle brand for those seeking adventure. Whether it's hunting, fishing, hiking, they got you covered. Visit stockandrod.com to get your wild game on. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is WTL.